Hello and welcome to Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast with me, Matthew, and as always, I am joined with...
Hi, I'm Scott.
Yes, hello, Scott. It is not the end of the month, it is the start of the month, but there was a big Doctor Who thing at the end of the month, so...
Was there?
So we're talking about the news at the start of the month about the end of October. It makes sense, don't worry about it. We're already in November somehow. Fuck me.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a year and a half at this point. Over a year and a half. It's fucking insane.
Insane. It's flown
Makes
by.
no sense.
Yeah, insane.
Makes no sense.
It doesn't. I should have quit by now. But we are talking about the news, and it has been, especially compared to last month's news, where we had literally fucking nothing to talk about. We've got quite a few big developments in the whole Doctor Who sphere that have happened in the month of October.
The future is looking very bright and very mouse-eared.
Yes, they are. It's honestly, it's ridiculous. I think we should probably lead with the biggest news story that's come in with Doctor Who wise, and that is, of course, their collaboration with Fall Guys, which was just announced. Doctor Who's gonna get some Fall Guys skins, sorry, no, that would be weird. Fall Guys is getting some Doctor Who skins.
Just one of the jelly bean creatures just pops into Doctor Who for no reason. It's one of the fucking things at the start of season 4.
They're the real 14th Doctor. Is one of those.
Are we literally starting off?
No, of course not. That's really all the news that there is for that one story. Is they're doing a collaboration with the game Fall Guys. No, the real big news that we're starting with is the new logo and Disney Plus. So, Disney Plus is to become the new global home for upcoming seasons of Doctor Who outside of the UK and Ireland. If you're in the UK and Ireland, you gotta still pay that fucking TV license.
Although Ireland don't get BBC iPlayers, I don't know how they get their Doctor Who.
Maybe it's on a different channel or something. Who knows? Fuck them. Under a shared creative vision, they will deliver a quintessentially British show to future generations on an unprecedented scale with Disney Plus as the exclusive home for new seasons of Doctor Who outside the UK and Ireland. The announcement, which was made this morning by the next Doctor Who, Ncuti Gatwa, during an appearance on Live with Kelly and Ryan, begins a new collaboration between the BBC and Disney branded television. Now, I'm like, the guy from Anchorman, I'm just reading this off a prompter. This was not announced today. This was announced at this point a couple weeks ago, but don't worry too much about that. Russell T. Davis said, "I love this show, and this is the best of both worlds. With the vision and joy of the BBC and Disney Plus, together we can launch the TARDIS all around the planet, reaching a new generation of fans while keeping our traditional home firmly on the BBC in the UK." Which is a weird one, isn't it? I mean, the one benefit I think that's going to come from this is if you don't want to pay your TV license, oh no, don't say that bit out loud, just buy a VPN, go to the United States and log into Disney Plus, and then you can watch Doctor Who without the BBC knowing. Shh.
Yeah, one thing for sure is if I had a BritBox subscription, at this point I'd be like, if classic Doctor Who comes to Disney Plus in America or other countries, I'd be getting rid of a BritBox subscription, to be honest.
Are you hinting something at me?
Yeah.
As the only person in the world with a BritBox subscription. Alyssa Bowen, president of Disney Plus, says, "We're excited by the opportunity to bring new seasons of the beloved franchise exclusively to Disney Plus and introduce the show to the next generation of audiences in more than 150 markets around the world." And according to The Telegraph, the American corporation will have a say in creative decisions for Doctor Who under the terms of co-production deal made with the BBC over its long-running sci-fi series, which means Mickey Mouse in Doctor Who. It also means that the Doctor can no longer say any disparaging things about any Disney properties, new, old, or present, I guess.
It also means that Doctor Who can end up in Kingdom Hearts, baby. Yeah.
It does. And, you know, I think, like, my core hates it. Like, it's like, so much against the idea of Doctor Who being in Kingdom Hearts, but at the same time, I think it would be really fun to run around the TARDISes, and stuff like that, while Donald and Goofy are there being like,
just bashing with the Daleks with that fucking giant key would be fun.
Yeah, it would be an interesting crossover for sure. Showrunner Russell T Davies will retain the overall creative vision for the program, but it is understood the corporate might of Disney will give the show vast budgets, allowing for a more cinematic production values and more stars, which, I mean, that's pretty fucking evident just from that little 15-second teaser we got at the end of The Power of the Doctor, because gee whiz, did it look pretty. Though, to be fair, Jodie's era's always looked good, much as...
I do wonder if it's starting with the 60th anniversary, if Disney was involved with the budgeting then, or if it's starting from Series 14. I do wonder when it starts.
Yeah. I think it would make...
Because
it feels weird they would sit on... I guess the reason they were sitting on this is they were waiting for... the other era to end, but to me it would make more sense for Disney to come in with the start of the new season rather than the start in the 60th anniversary. Just from a new clean start perspective.
Yeah, because we heard a rumor like months ago that they were in talks to do this, and I think it was. I don't think they had reached the finalized deal yet, and obviously they've shot most of the 60th anniversary stuff at this point. So I don't think the 60th anniversary is going to be co-produced by Disney unless they pay for most of the post-production stuff, like the special effects.
Yeah, it could be. But, bringing in more stars. They've got fucking Barney from How I Met Your Mother. Neil Patrick Harris. Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest stars that are coming onto Modern Who.
Yeah, but again, that's probably because of the Russell T Davies connection.
Yeah, because he was obviously on... what the fuck was that show called? It's a Sin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Russell loves working with people he's worked with before. The BBC is going to ultimately control editorial power of the series The Telegraph understands, and the new episodes of Doctor Who will return to screens in November 2023, a year away, to coincide with the 60th anniversary, and will premiere exclusively on the BBC in the UK and Ireland. So, we have got 12 months until we're getting a fucking glimpse. It's another Doctor Who famine. It feels like this year, we've had 3 specials this year, and it was felt like there were such huge gaps between Doctor Who. Going 12 months with nothing is going to be painful.
Yeah, I was expecting the 3 specials to be spread out more, a special in April, another special in August, and the final big special in November, obviously, but I guess we're just all airing in November. I guess it's going to be like a mini-series rather than specials at this rate.
Yeah, and speaking of the specials, David Tennant will, as we found out, be playing the role of the 14th Doctor for all 3 specials, all of which will be airing in November 2023, before Ncuti Gatwa takes over the role as the 15th Doctor over the festive season. Christmas special confirmed. And to celebrate today's news, as a Doctor Who logo was unveiled for the era. So, before we chat about this new logo, David Tennant is confirmed 14th Doctor by Russell T Davies himself. It is not the 10th Doctor again. It is not the alternate universe Doctor. It is the 14th incarnation of the Doctor. Just so happens to be David Tennant again.
Yeah. Yeah, we are not too sure how to feel about this one, but I think Russell T Davies probably has a twist ending to be he's not actually the 14th Doctor. He at the end, David Tennant just basically goes to Ncuti Gatwa being like, "Hey, Ncuti, you're the 14th Doctor. I can't do this. I'm the 10th Doctor. You're the 14th."
It could be. Russell T Davies does like to lie. He is a lying man. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it still. I like David Tennant being back, but David Tennant coming back, the signing with Disney Plus, this to me feels like a reset of the show almost.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, we've got to prepare people, a whole new audience, a way bigger audience than before for this show. We'll get the fan favorite back, and they can just start from here. They don't need to go back and watch 13 seasons of a show they've only vaguely know about from mentioned on The Big Bang Theory, and they can instead start here.
Disney Plus is like the biggest streaming service right now, I think. It's like maybe just slightly below Netflix.
No, they've overtaken Netflix.
They've overtaken Netflix, yeah, I'm not surprised. 150 markets are now able to access Doctor Who in an easier way. Although, in countries like Australia, they had Doctor Who for free like for the last 50 years. They were basically able to access the show for free for 50 years, which is like a big shame for them because now it's locked behind a paywall, meaning maybe people won't be able to watch Doctor Who in Australia.
But those people already have Disney Plus. Everybody's already got Disney Plus because that's where they stick fucking everything because Disney own everything,
And Disney Plus is still relatively fucking cheap compared to like Netflix.
But it's not like Disney needs the fucking money, is it?
Because Netflix for the 4K version of Netflix is like £15 a month, whereas for Disney Plus it's like £8 a month or something like that, and you get 4K included as well. It's like, why am I paying twice as much for Netflix?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. But 150 markets, it's going to make the show so much bigger, and maybe we don't have to worry about UK ratings anymore because, it's on Disney Plus and everybody can watch it now.
Yeah. It feels like this is the second reboot, honestly. This is what it feels like, a second reboot to me, where it is a continuation of the original series, but you don't really need to worry too much about the stuff that's come before. There'll be hints and nods, for the old fans of the stuff, but this is a fresh start, basically.
I do wonder how new viewers are going to go into this. Like, obviously David Tennant and Catherine Tate reuniting. Will they... Like, I don't know how they're going to attach themselves to this. Even, like, people who jumped aboard in the Jodie Whittaker era won't really attach themselves to this. It's going to be interesting for sure.
A series of extensively long flashbacks.
But also this co-production deal technically, I guess, means because if you remember, like a year and a half ago, before we found out that Russell T Davies had been able to come back to Doctor Who, he had like an interview saying, I wish Doctor Who had like a Marvel kind of connection where there's multiple spin-offs like Disney Plus do with her.
Yeah, it's what he tried to do with the BBC in like 2005-6 with Torchwood and fucking Sarah Jane Adventures, etc.
Yeah, I don't think the BBC are interested in having like a Doctor Who spin-off right now because obviously they don't really have a budget for it. Because obviously you look at Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures, they were shot really cheaply, but Disney Plus can commission these spin-offs, and you don't need BBC to be interested. They can just sign on as like we can air it in the UK, you can produce it yourselves.
Yeah.
And we could have like a whole Doctor Who spin-off franchise. We could have the 8th Doctor coming back.
We could. I'd be down for it. I would be down for it. I'd be excited for it. I'm also really nervous. I feel like, whenever something new happens, whenever a giant fucking corporation like Disney especially buys up, a product that you care a lot about, there's always that, what if they fuck it? This will be the third product that Disney buy that I care about. Marvel, Star Wars, Doctor Who. Marvel, they've done an extremely good job with. Star Wars, they fucked royally and are now doing a very good job with the TV shows, but those movies, yikes. And Doctor Who, we'll see. I have hope because at the end of the day, the BBC and Russell T Davies do have final say on everything still, which is fucking good. How long that lasts, or if they have that power with, say, spin-off shows they make, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, with Russell T Davies being on board, I would say he's going to be on board for like at least 5 years. So I would say it's 5 years of safety for Doctor Who at the moment. And I don't think... Because the BBC just today said that the Doctor Who is like their most viable program because it's the most marketable across, the states and all that. I don't think we're going to let go of it easily, and I think we're just going to maintain all creative control.
What I'd really like is for Russell T Davies to kind of take a Kevin Feige position, produce a large producer in charge, oversees the grand fucking plan with it, so he's got his finger in every pie. He still lets people do their own thing, but he has final say on whether or not this is, fits with the canon or not.
Either way, it's an interesting change, and I'm looking forward to hear more I imagine we'll hear more details next year. Like, maybe obviously there's 4 specials next year because we're hearing about Shurigatwa's festive special, which maybe means Christmas or maybe means New Year's. We'll find out, but either way, we're seeing Shurigatwa in his own episode sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, we got a glimpse of him in that 15 seconds as well, and
yeah,
wearing David Tennant's clothes, if you look closely enough, which makes me go like, what the fuck is going on? But he looks great. I'm on board. But let's chat about this logo, which is basically a reimagining of one of the original logos, the 4th Doctor logo, is it?
Yeah, it was introduced in the 3rd Doctor's final season, and I think it stayed on the show for like around 6 years, I would say.
Yeah.
6 or 7 years.
It's good. It's clean. The issue is a lot of people aren't really aware of that era of Doctor Who, and a lot more people are really aware of some TV show called Paw Patrol.
It's wild. People are just like, yeah, this is a total rip-off of Paw Patrol, and it's like, no, this logo came first. It came first like 50
Paw Patrol
years
ripped
ago.
off Doctor Who, goddamn!
It's kind of insane. This is like the most recognizable Doctor Who logo in terms of like before, obviously, the 2005 revival. It's crazy. It is, a diamond. It's a diamond logo for the diamond anniversary. What more do you want? It's perfect. And also, it's like an old logo for an old Doctor, for an old showrunner. It works in so many ways. It's perfect.
It is. It's very, very good. The only thing that I'm not a fan with it is coming up with a new logo for our show is really fucking difficult. Just because it's such a cramped image with Doctor Who, and we have a rather long title of the show, Who Watches Who. It's 3 words, Doctor Who is 2 words, there's not really the space. I've been struggling to come up with a new logo for it, but I'll get there eventually. There'll be a new podcast logo to breathe in this new era at some point.
One thing about this logo is there's like multiple variants of the logo. There's like a big, longer version. I only like the original diamond-shaped version. I don't like the other variants. The last variant is basically the variant used in like Target books. I imagine you have a picture up on screen right now of all the variants, but the one on the bottom right is from the original Target novelization books, obviously with the BBC logo splashed above it, which kind of looks off-centered. It kind of looks distracting a bit.
It does, but as long as they're really only focusing on that main logo and not the other logos, I don't think I care too much about the variants,
Yeah, it looks pretty solid. And also, Russell T Davies did confirm that those collection sets of each Doctor will retain the original Jodie Whittaker logo. So
good. So there'll be some uniform.
Yeah. So when you have them stacked above your shelf, they all look uniform. It will look great. Although I'm still waiting for original versions to be re-released, because the original versions were limited edition, and they kind of re-released them as like smaller packages, and it does not look good in your shelf. Like, I want them all to be re-released as the original limited edition, because it does
chunky
not
boys. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. I just want them all to look the same. It looks bad on my shelf at the moment.
In other news, we have the ratings for The Power of the Doctor, Jodie's final episode. The viewing figures are in for Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who swan song, The Power of the Doctor, which has delivered the sci-fi drama its highest chart position in 4 years. Audience membership organization BARB has revealed that the show's 7-day consolidated viewership, including those who watched the episode live and those who caught up later in the week, stands at 5.3 million people, which is really fucking good for Jodie's Doctor Who. I technically count as 2 of those views because I watched that episode twice in 1 week, but what you're gonna do. 5.3 million people still, because it, to take away 5.3 million is not a lot. The place that places it in the 5th most viewed program of the week, commencing Monday the 17th of October, beaten by Strictly Come Dancing's live show of 9.9 million. Insane that show gets that many people watching it still. And its result its result program with 8.6 million, as well as Channel 4's Great British Bake Off at 7.8 million, ITV's Doc Martin at 5.6 million. I've never even heard of Doc Martin. How's it getting more people watching it than Doc Who?
Doc Martin has been on the air for like 20 years at this point. I think it's the final season. But yeah, it's a show.
Who watches ITV Live? I don't know anybody that watches ITV.
Grandparents.
Yeah, it has to be. Just grandparents are watching, like, the fuck, what, like, the only, in my parents' house, they watch TV Live quite a bit, but the only thing that they watch live is BBC One. Like, BBC One's on, like, all the time. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand why anyone would watch advertisements on TV Live.
Yeah.
At least wait, like, 15 minutes and then watch your recording of that channel, you know?
Yeah, crazy. BBC entertainment correspondent Lisbo Zimba notes that 4.04 million people watched this climactic scene as it was broadcast live, which gives an idea of the significant difference that catch-up viewing makes to the final numbers, because everybody watches Doctor Who in their own time now. Everybody watches TV whenever the fuck they want.
Which is why the Disney partnership is perfect, because then anyone could just watch anytime they want. It's perfect.
Yeah. And then we've got an interesting link. Oh, that's the Doctor Who fell over. We led with that story, the biggest story that's ever come into Doctor Who.
Yeah, you want to talk about Fall Guys for a bit? Do you like these costumes? They look pretty decent.
I really do. I really like the Dalek one. I really like the Tom Baker one. The Jodie one's alright. The David Tennant one's alright. But it's a fun collaboration. It's probably the biggest official collaboration Doctor Who's had in video games in ages, because of course they had that Fortnite one recently, but that was an unofficial collaboration. That was just somebody at BBC being like, I made this in Fortnite.
So in preparation for his podcast, I whipped up Fall Guys, and I realized that these fucking costumes, you need to spend about £16 or something like that to get all the costumes, which isn't bad, but it's like, I'm not spending that money on a game I played 2 years ago for like a month. I'm not spending that money. It's ridiculous.
It is for a game that I will not play again once I forget they did this collaboration as well. It's a fun enough game, but it just, once you play it enough, it's like, okay, I get it. Like, I get this. But
game the brand new costumes of the 4th, 13th and 14th Doctor, and Daleks, and there's also like themes as well, and a sonic screwdriver noise. I don't understand, but sure. But yeah, I imagine we'll get more branded content like this in the future with Disney. I imagine they'll want to put more market money into the show, which would be great, because God knows Doctor Who needs marketing after the Chibnall era.
Yes, it very much does, and it needs as many eyes on it as possible. As many little kids being like, what the fuck is Doctor Who? And then having their mind blown. Because that's how you get fans, and you hook them for life, and then they discover this podcast, and they're like, wow, these guys are annoying, I'm not listening. In other news, the 7th Doctor's umbrella is available to purchase. A 7th Doctor, official Doctor Who 7th Doctor / umbrella that functions as a proper umbrella, is available to purchase from a company called Lavarzi, which, as far as I can tell, sell a lot of Doctor Who merchandise. Their logo is the 4th Doctor's tie. They also sell Star Trek merchandise. You should not have told me about this website. The umbrella looks really good. It is £50.
£50 isn't bad for like a collector's item. You know, I was expecting it to be like over £100. £50 for an umbrella is obviously expensive, but if it's like a cosplaying element to it, it's perfect. You know?
Yeah, but like I would want to buy it and just use it as a regular umbrella day to day. You know, I don't want to spend. I can't afford that right now, Scott. Their Star Trek merch is, they've got some really cute Christmas Star Trek stuff. Ooh, this is a Christmas fucking website if I've ever seen one. Oh boy, yes, I am bookmarking this site. Good thing my family.
A replica of the 4th Doctor scarf for £69. Nice.
Delicious. Oh yeah, this is
But yeah,
a site
I
that I am going to be buying a lot of Christmas presents off. My family's really
yeah
into Star Trek. So.
I have no interest in this website. I'm not into collecting stuff like clothes or shit like this. But yeah, it's interesting. You know, if you want to cosplay as the Seventh Doctor, you can have an official replica of the umbrella for a reasonable price. I would say it's
Yeah,
not bad.
it's not terrible. And it looks like it'll be high quality as well. So,
Yeah.
you're paying for the quality more than anything. Uh, in the TV movie has been getting a lot of buzz recently because obviously there's the documentary coming out, which I am fucking desperate to see in cinemas. We've got to find out.
It already came out in cinemas and it just was not near me. I think the only showing in Scotland was in Edinburgh, which was...
Boo.
I'm not travelling for something
Yeah, to see a movie.
like that.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
When it's on DVD this month, actually.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to get it in DVD and watch it on my
Yeah.
big TV in the comfort of my home, not surrounded by strangers. Oh, that sounds awful. Anyway, to promote the release of the documentary Doctor Who Am I, multiple people involved with the TV movie were interviewed by Radio Tims.
Oh, Radio Times.
Leonard Nimoy, most famously, as you've written here, of Kingdom Hearts fame, which makes me boil in anger, nearly directed the movie. Philip Segal, who was a producer, said, I have several meetings with Leonard Nimoy who wanted to direct it. I met him at Amblin Entertainment and we had wonderful conversations. He was genuinely excited about the possibility. Fox did not want him to do it. They were concerned it looked very kitsch. I can't say that word. Kitsch, isn't it? It's kitsch. Yeah. They were concerned it looked very kitsch to go, aren't we clever? We've got Spock from Star Trek directing. Segal revealed that the TV...
Oh, he's also from Star Trek. Whoa.
Shut the fuck up. Segal revealed the TV movie's US broadcaster would only permit Nimoy to direct if he took a role in the TV movie, potentially as the master. That was just insulting to Leonard because that wasn't the objective of the object of the exercise. I think a Leonard Nimoy directed Doctor Who movie would have been fucking fantastic. He directed a lot of the Star Trek movies and the likes, and those are mostly fun.
Yeah, I've never seen a single Star Trek movie he directed. I've not seen Three Men and a Baby. I think he also directed.
I watched that as a kid. I liked that movie as a kid.
Yeah, I'm not aware of his directing powers. I've only seen a few episodes of the original Star Trek series. I've played Kingdom Hearts, Birth by Sleep, his best role.
Yeah, he did, in the, I think it was like the 80s or the 90s, he did publish a book that said, I am not Spock, and then in parenthesis it said, I am Xehanort, and like a huge, like several exclamation marks, because like he was like, that's the role I want to be known by, not Spock, I am Xehanort, my...
The role he died playing.
The TARDIS was almost changed in the movie, according to Segal. Fox said, we don't want a police box for his spaceship. What they wanted, they simply described as something new, fresh, and different, which is the most, corporate answer to, we want a new idea. It's got to be fresh, different, It's like that entire scene in the new Matrix movie when they're trying to talk about, what is the Matrix? And it's like this montage of them saying nothing. I obviously had to fight for the TARDIS. I explained to them that the police box was actually invented by Americans in New York City before the concept went to London, which is actually true. So, once they realized it was an American invention, they left me alone, which is hilarious, that they were so desperate for it to not have too much of a British connection.
Yeah. But, with the TARDIS, at least it makes sense canonically that it could change. You could just say the circuit changed. That makes sense, at least.
Yeah.
But, changing the TARDIS would be, so ridiculous. I can't imagine. What if it was a DeLorean?
Yeah, I'm just glad that they, didn't want to change what the inside looked like, because it was fucking perfect. They spoke about casting the Master. Christopher Lee, also of Kingdom Hearts fame, Tim Curry, David Bowie, Mick Jagger, and Sting were reportedly considered for the role. I had 4 bosses: Universal Studios, BBC Enterprises, Fox, and the BBC itself. He explained, he being Mr. Steven Seagal, not Steven Seagal, Philip Seagal. I wish it was Steven Seagal. Sometimes you can be forced into making offers like a bluff in poker, because you gather intelligence to know the person isn't available or they don't want to do a series. The powers that be just want to know that you made the effort to ask. Though he insists that many of the rumors around the TV movie were either exaggerated or even completely false. In the case of Ridley Scott being approached to potentially direct, which would have been fucking interesting, Seagal admitted that Sting's name did come up in a conversation to play the Master. I think his name came up for the villain, he said. These casting ideas were ultimately never a demand, but more like wishes that would get tossed around a lot. Actors confirmed to have auditioned for the role of the Eighth Doctor include Rowan Atkinson, Eric Idle, Anthony Head, and Rick Mayall, while both Christopher Eccleston and Peter Capaldi, who would later go on to play future incarnations, were also invited to audition, with Capaldi turning down the opportunity for fear he would be unsuccessful. Which is wild that Eccleston, it didn't say he turned it down, so Eccleston auditioned for the movie.
I have a question. Did we know this before?
I don't know. I don't know if we did know that. It's just kind of casually written down. I don't know if we did know that.
Because we did a fucking 4.5-hour podcast on this last year, and I don't think it ever came up. I imagine I would remember that, but I don't remember.
I think that's new information that's just kind of tucked in there. Like, oh yeah, Christopher Eccleston auditioned for this role, but he didn't get it. But he went on to play the next Doctor, so which is
that's crazy.
And of course, Paul McGann thought Rowan Atkinson was for sure going to be cast as the Doctor. He was talking about recently in an interview, which we have seen Rowan Atkinson as the Doctor in that comedy special written by Mr. Stephen Moffat. Go listen to Dr. Bean, or whatever episode that is, on the podcast if you want to hear our thoughts on that. You want to take this next bit? I've been talking so much.
Sorry. Daphne Ashbrook, who plays Grace in the movie, not Ace. She talks about wanting to return if the pilot went to series. So I wasn't under contract, I was just a guest star really. But about a week before we wrapped shooting, the movie's writer Matthew Jacobs asked me, while we were on the set, if Fox picked it up, would I be interested in coming back and maybe doing a series? I said of course. In fact, I think I screamed and then hugged him. I almost made him pass out. I might have frightened him a little. I have done some Big Finish audios, but essentially I was told you can't be Grace, because someone finally found out that it was Universal that owned her, and unless they were willing to buy the rights, we could not legally bring her back. It's sad because I think there's a lot of opportunity for Big Finish, or whoever, to have some fun with these characters altogether. So, all the rights of a movie are basically wrapped up at Universal. Only the Master and the Doctor are basically allowed to be in Big Finish, which is quite sad.
It is. I wonder if, because Universal, they're the ones that are going through this. Is it? No, it's not. It's Warner Brothers that are going through the fucking nightmare merger at the moment. Universal are just kind of sitting there like, I guess we're alive still. What
do they do these days? Minions?
They mainly produce like family movies and bad comedies. Like, I wonder if they'd be interested in selling those rights to Disney, for Disney to make a spin-off series. They would make a fucking bucket load of money off Disney.
Yeah, the Disney deal might work, but they've also got the Hulk, the rights to a solo Hulk movie that they've been sitting on for God knows how long.
They don't have them for much longer, apparently, according to, I think, Mr. Sunday Movies. Like, they have, with the deal they made with Marvel, is they have the rights for like 20 years or something like that, and it's coming up on the expiration for those rights, which means they would then default back to, because they've not made a Hulk movie, they would then default back to Marvel, also known as Disney, which is what they were teasing in She-Hulk, is the Hulk movie. Dude, rights are fucking dumb. It's so, I know, it's ridiculous.
Like, you can use the Hulk in TV shows and other movies, but you just can't call the movie Hulk. You can basically make Hulk a guest star in like a supporting role in Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, but it's so strange. It's very strange.
Rights are really, really, really stupid.
But interesting stuff about the Eighth Doctor movie. There's been a load of information on the Radio Times website, so if you want to read more, you can read more. I also didn't include everything. There's an interesting interview with Paul McGann himself, who basically went over his experience, basically being like, I feel like I've ruined Doctor Who for a bit, but when they brought it back and said I was canon, which is brilliant. Yeah, if you want to hear about our opinions on the Eighth Doctor movie,
oh my god,
listen to it last year, because we did a 4.5-hour podcast.
Our
we
longest
really
episode, our longest episode ever, accidentally. We did not anticipate it to be almost 5 hours long. It's just we had a lot of thoughts on the movie because it really surprised us.
And we should be in the Doctor Who Am I movie documentary, because the whole movie is about how fandom evolved to change their opinions about this movie, how the convention scene changed, and how everybody likes this movie. Not everybody likes this movie, but people have changed their opinion on this odd little Doctor Who movie. We should be approached, but
we should have been.
Late.
We should have been approached. We should have been.
It's ridiculous.
To be fair, we probably released that episode like when they were halfway through filming, and they never heard of it because it was it's like episode like 4 or 5 of the podcast. But it's worth listening to that episode for sure. It's worth watching the movie. I fucking love that movie. I'll defend it to the ends of the earth. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's silly nonsense, not unlike Power of the Doctor.
But speaking of silly nonsense, Big Finish are releasing a shit ton of stuff in November.
Yes, they are.
You want to take the first one then?
Yes, our first one is Nem3 Unit Nemesis Free Objective Earth.
Love Big Finish titles. They're so catchy.
So basically Axos has been freed from the time loop. I guess he was in a time loop. And is plotting to drain Earth's energy. Without the Doctor's help to stop the powerful space parasite, Unit are forced to rely on a multi-personality renegade Time Lord known as the 11. The 11 is basically what if every incarnation of a Time Lord lived inside its own head. It's kind of like a movie Split.
We've spoken about the 11 before. Again, in a really early episode of the podcast. I think it was the one with Bok, because that was a really long podcast as well. They were like 3 hours long. I think we spoke about the 11 way back then, last year.
Yeah, but this one obviously has Kate Stewart and Osgood, who I wonder when Osgood is ever going to show up on screen again. The last time we saw her was in the Zygon 2-parter. Obviously she's still into Doctor Who, so God knows. And also we have Eleanor Crooks as Naomi Cross, who was apparently a Fourth Doctor companion in the Fourth Doctor audio box sets.
Right,
but I don't know anything about her. Doctor Who canon is weird. I don't know what's going on here. The Axos is obviously a Bob Baker creation, who also created the K9, so it's interesting that they're in this box set. I'm interested. I'd buy this, but I don't know what the fuck's going on. This is part 3 of like a...
I don't know what's going on either, and this is Nem3 Unit Nemesis 3, but if you scroll down, they've also got Unit Nemesis 4, which I guess is different than Unit Nemesis 3.
Wait, is Unit Nemesis 4 not coming out after this? Is that...
Oh yeah, it's a pre-order available in April 2023. Yeah. Wow, that's they've really got that pre-order up and early. Jesus, coming out in April next year, and they're like, pre-order it now, 20 quid. Like,
yeah, Nemesis 1 has Tom Baker as a curator doctor? Question mark.
Right.
Yeah. So my question is, does this take place before or after Chris Chibnall destroyed Unit? When does this take place?
Yeah, but Chris Chibnall destroyed Unit twice, so... Which time?
Yeah, looking at previous box sets, River Song makes an appearance, the War Master makes an appearance. Fucking hell, there's so much.
Yeah.
Like, is this considered canon?
I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to listen to this Unit Nemesis series. It seems complicated. And seems like there's a lot.
Also, Joe Grant makes an appearance. The Silence makes an appearance.
Of course, yeah.
They have 2 box sets, apparently. Jesus Christ, there's so much Unit stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just if you look at... Because I was just opening up the next box set. In Unit Nemesis 3, there is a lady with silver hair In the next
Yep,
box
that's-
set, which is called Doctor Who: The Seventh Doctor Adventures, Sullivan and Cross AWOL, it's the same silver-haired lady.
Yeah, that's the Fourth Doctor companion I'm also
Ah.
talking about. And also, Harry Sullivan is, of course, another Fourth Doctor companion. So it's a Seventh Doctor with two Fourth Doctor companions.
Right. And
One
an
of them
elf.
audio and an elf from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Lord knows what the fuck is going on.
Jesus Christ. This next box set it says, sometimes the Time Lord forgets precisely where he left things. Keys, screwdrivers, companions. Harry Sullivan and Naomi Cross are stuck in the wrong time, so when the TARDIS arrives, they give up their 21st century lives to find a way home. But as they join a Doctor, a different version to any they've met before, Harry and Naomi are in for a few perilous stops along the way. This is 6 parts. Jesus fuck. It's 2 stories, one 4-part and one 2-part story. One's called London Orbital by John Dorney. Long ago, a massacre in a suburban house led to the young Harry Sullivan joining UNIT, but the murders were never solved. Years later, Harry and Naomi Cross investigate an oddity in London Underground and uncover a whole different side of the capital. Creatures of myth are running amok across the city in a conflict going back decades, and somewhere in the shadows lurks a new incarnation of their old friend, the Doctor, and he's here to stop a war. And then Scream of the Daleks by Lisa McMullen. Halloween 1969, the Doctor, Harry, and Naomi respond to his scream for rescue. They find that people have been dying in the same spot on this day across millennia, but in their bid to stop the nightmare, the travellers have unleashed the Doctor's old enemy. They may be one cry for help better left unanswered. Or this may be even. Interesting. I really like the idea of old companions stumbling into the Doctor, not, thinking it's their Doctor and it being a different version of the Doctor.
This is a recurring theme this month. We just had Power of the Doctor, now we have this, and later on we have a Ninth Doctor audio set that has a story about meeting old companions. It's an interesting theme, and also the final story is a Halloween special. Why did we not release this last month?
Who knows? What's great is if you look at the backstage, there's a bunch of photos with Sylvester McCoy and the entire cast and crew, and what a little man he is. What's a little old man?
Jolly man.
Just a little jolly old man.
Yeah, I'm going to Aberdeen Comic Con where he's also going. I can't wait to stand next to him because I'm a giant.
Yeah, you're a tower over him. What a lovely guy. This box set seems interesting. I like the idea. It also seems ridiculously complicated because I have no idea who these companions are, and it seems really long. With 6 parts,
also, Yeah, Harry Sullivan was like a 1-season companion with the Fourth Doctor, and then he pops up in these big finished box sets. The actor who played him died, so he's been replaced. I think he's also in some of the UNIT stories, which implies that he has access to time travel now. He's also in some of the 8th. He's also in the next 3rd. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on. I'm scared. Our next box set is the 8th Doctor. Adventures, What Lies Inside. The Doctor, Liv, and Helen are travelling once again in the universe of space and time. They find some old enemies causing havoc on a temporal research station before a trip to the Isle of Man in the 1930s, where they encounter a famous enigma. This is 2 stories. Paradox of the Daleks by John Dorney. Didn't he just write a story in the last box that we just
Yes, he did.
read?
Yes. Busy man.
Was it the Dalek story?
No, the Dalek. It was the other one. The Dalek story was written by a woman.
Okay. Woman.
Yeah.
Ruining Doctor Who. And speaking of a woman,
Gotta
the
go commit
Dalby
crimes.
the Dalby Spook is written by Lauren Mooney and Stuart Pringle.
Oh my god.
So the first one is 2 parts and the last one is 1 part. I imagine they're close to an hour long. I can't be worried reading these, but yeah, interesting stuff.
It is. Is this part of the new 8th Doctor reboot-ish, no longer connected to the 20 years of his story?
Yeah, if you remember before, there was like 4 series worth of box sets, all interconnected, and each of these 4 series had 4 box sets, so it's 16 box sets you'd have to listen to in order to get the whole story. This is like a reboot, essentially, and we're jumping on board with this. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
I think both of us are wanting to jump on board with this.
Love Paul McGann. I want more of him in my ear, please.
So yeah, Dalek Story is of course a great way to kick off this reboot.
Yes, very much.
and a very spooky Halloweeny sounding episode as well, which is interesting. I'm very interested. I'm on board.
Same. Speaking of doctors that we like to listen to, Doctor Who, The Ninth Doctor Adventures, Hidden Depths. Sometimes things lurk below the surface which only the Doctor can see. From a moon with poison seas to a 19th century health spa, even somewhere as everyday as a furniture store on a Sunday afternoon, there are always hidden depths and unseen dangers to uncover. This is a 3-story box set with The Seas of Titan by Elizabeth Miles. Her parents didn't know how to spell Elizabeth, apparently. Lay Down Your Arms by Lisa McMullen, and Flat Pack by John Dorney. Oh my god, John Dorney writing another box set this month. It's his 3rd box set coming out this... He better be fucking good. This is, of course, Christopher Eccleston's latest box set. His 9th box set? How many box sets has he done?
This would be the 7th.
7th, okay. This one obviously has got sea devils in it and a really shit-looking guy in a mask. I think this might be my least favorite Eccleston box set cover they've done. It is ugly and boring looking.
Yeah, and we've said this before, but they are definitely running out of pictures of Christopher Eccleston as Ninth Doctor. Because I feel like I've seen this picture used like a million times already.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first story has sea devils, and the last story has fucking 2 of the characters we were just talking about in the 8th Doctor, Liv and Helen.
Right,
I think.
of course.
And the interesting thing about this is the actress who plays Liv, I think, said that basically her character arc for this story is kind of getting over the death of the 8th Doctor, because obviously a new incarnation has come along. And it's interesting because obviously we just had a Doctor regenerate, and obviously this is a kind of introduction to us for these new companions who have been traveling with the 8th Doctor for a while. So I'm interested in this box set. Interesting stuff. Yes. Hopefully we don't run into a situation where it's only like one really good story and one middling story and then one really bad story, because that feels like
yeah, it's been the pattern, hasn't it?
Yeah. Hopefully this is a solid story all along.
Yeah, I hope so.
Our next one is Torchwood, the 67th standalone story, which is kind of wild.
Jesus Christ.
Torchwood, the Lincolnshire poacher. Well, this one's written really weirdly. Mysterious signals lead Torchwood to the mall. 4184. Greg likes countryside walks and recording the songs of birds. 3627. No one knows the secret of the number stations. 1205. How long has Yanto Jones been trapped inside the boiler room? 9723. Reality is collapsing. 3581. The Lincolnshire poacher is waiting.
You know what? It's a really weird description, but it sold me more so than the other box sets on it, because it's like, I'm like, what the fuck is it talking about? I need to listen and find out. You know?
His fucking right arm looks really weird. Does not look attached to his body. That
is because I think that's a photoshopped arm. I don't think that arm is actually a part of his body.
It's supposed to look like he's running like
he's got
this.
It backwards, but it's like,
yeah,
it's too skinny and warped at the wrong angle.
Yeah, it looks like he had a birth defect.
It does almost looks like his arm is really short, doesn't it? It looks like he's got a really short arm.
I'm not sure what's going on in this one. I've not bought any of the Torchwood. I've only bought season 5 of Torchwood. I still need to listen to that, but...
No, you don't.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I do wonder if they're ever going to bring back Captain Jack, because we had that 10th Doctor crossover special we were all waiting for. I was looking forward to that one.
Mm-hmm.
But...
then they've also got a lot of Blake 7 stuff coming out. They've got one called After the War, where the Galactic War has unexpected repercussions. I didn't know there was a Galactic War in Blake 7. I know nothing about Blake 7.
They also have a novel, the ebook called Babe and the Butcher, which has Colin Baker in the front, because he was in Blake 7 before Doctor Who. We need to do Blake 7 at some point. That'd be fun.
It's on BritBox. I'd be interested just to know what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Because as far as I know, it's just a cheesy sci-fi British show. I don't know what the plot is at all.
Yeah, and also Star Cops, which is another 80s BBC sci-fi show, which...
Star
It was about
Cops
Star
is
Cops, I guess.
the most funny B-movie title I've ever heard in my entire life. It's extremely close to Space Cop, isn't it?
Yeah, from Red Letter Media.
Yeah. But that is all the Big Finish box sets we've got coming out. I think it's pretty obvious which ones we're most interested in, that being the 8th and 9th Doctor. The other ones, they seem a bit complicated, a bit too much of a continuation of series that we have no investments in.
Yeah, with Unit Nemesis free, we have to listen to the last 2 box sets, or maybe more.
Yeah.
With the 7th Doctor, Adventure, Sullivan and Cross, I would need to remind myself who Harry is. I vaguely remember him. He was in Genesis of the Daleks and most of Season 1 of Tom Baker's run. I don't know who Naomi is.
No idea.
I don't know who Naomi Cross, but I guess she's a 4th Doctor companion who sometimes works with Unit in the present day, and also runs into a 7th Doctor in the future.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
And then the Tortured one is pretty interesting. But I have no idea what it's about. I would literally only listen to it out of sheer curiosity, just because that description is so strange. But it's fun.
Yeah. Interesting one for Big Finish. A good variety, I would say. They always have a good variety. They seem to space things out really well.
I think it's interesting they're releasing both the new 8th Doctor and 9th Doctor in the same month. Which is pretty cool for us. You know, that's 2 new Big Finish stories that we get to listen to. Just an interesting one. It's probably the most interested I've been with Big Finish releases, which is funny because I think this is probably the worst looking batch of releases they've had in a while.
Yeah, but I'm definitely buying 2 this month. I usually only buy like 0 or 1. So I think Power of the Doctor made me more interested in going into the Big Finish stuff, but I don't have the money at the moment, so I can't.
Yeah, cost of living crisis, isn't it?
Yeah.
In other releases, the Doctor Who Season 13 specials are coming out on Blu-ray, specifically Steelbook Blu-ray, with a very fucking nice looking Steelbook. It is.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
It is pretty. Or you could just buy it on DVD, I guess. Although that's just the 13th season. Amazon, why are you lying to me?
Amazon does not know how to process this information.
Yeah, but it's the 3 specials, which includes 2 goodish episodes and 1 really, really bad episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it must just be for collectors. Oh my god, there's reviews for this already. I'm interested. These are just reviews for Flux. Amazon, stop lying to me. My god, there's a lot of 5-star reviews for Flux.
But yeah, the interesting thing about this fucking DVD Blu-ray is the fact that every story on it, well, there are only 3 stories, but they all have audio commentaries, and I'm fucking interested in that fucking Sea Devil storyline.
Yeah, that would be interesting to listen with commentary on.
Yeah, like what the fuck do they even say?
Just Chibnall being like, I had to write this in a day. The BBC gave me no warning. They just said, like, where's the episode? And I was like, what episode?
Like two of these stories were basically written at last minute. Basically, like Eve of the Daleks was written in like 2 weeks or something, I think he said.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically like we had to do it on one set because we just did not have a budget for it. Mm-hmm. And obviously the Legend of the Sea Devils was written like last minute as well, and it's a fucking mess. Harvey Doctor is pretty good though.
It's very fun, yes. We've also got Doctor Who Am I, which we have spoken briefly about at the start of this episode, coming out on Blu-ray. Only for 13 quid, or a tenner on DVD, which is not bad at all. That's coming out on November 28th. That is one that I definitely hope I can afford to buy when it comes out.
Yeah,
because I am exceedingly interested in it.
I'm going to pre-order it right now, so you take the
next
one.
Oh, wow. We've got books coming out and all with Doctor Who and the Daleks, illustrated edition. I think we spoke about this when it was first announced.
Yeah, we spoke about this before, but yeah, it's coming out next month, and it looks beautiful. It looks very nice.
Yes,
I think they even advertised it after Power of the Doctor as well on BBC One. So
it's also got an introduction written by Neil Gaiman. I enjoy good Neil Gaiman. His writing is always very fun. Oh wow! I could just read it right now. On the preview of the book, it opens up with Neil Gaiman's entire intro and then the first chapter.
It's
Interesting.
basically the only new content aside from the illustrations.
Yeah, this is a dramatic reinvention of the very first Doctor Who novel from 1963 and the hundreds of novels that followed, but few can claim to have surpassed its powerful storytelling and unique atmosphere. Written by Doctor Who's first story editor, David Whittaker, and lavishly illustrated by the acclaimed comic book artist Robert Hack. Adapted from Terry Nation's first Dalek story, Doctor Who and the Daleks sees Ian Chesterton, Barbara Wright caught up in the flight through time and space of the mysterious Doctor and his granddaughter Susan. They travel in the TARDIS to the planet Skaro, where they strive to save a peace-loving Thals from the evil intentions of the hideous Daleks. Can they succeed? And if they do, will Ian and Barbara ever see their native Earth? This is the ultimate edition of an iconic novel, a deluxe volume that embraces both proud tradition and modern innovation to present the drama of a Dalek dystopia you've never seen before. Comes in at 224 pages and seems fun. I don't think
I
I'm
thought you were
going
to say £224. I was like, holy shit.
No, it's £20 for the hardcover or $7.99 for paperback. Always buy paperback; it's way better. But I will say the hardcover cover is nicer than the paperback one. The paperback one is nice, though. It is nice, but it looks a bit cheaper.
I need to click on the link to see the difference.
You can also buy it as an MP3 CD. Who's doing that?
For an illustrated edition.
Yeah.
Our next book is A World of Demons, The Villains of Doctor Who, which is written by David Bushman and Barnaby Edwards, who is one of the Daleks in the new series. He's a little man who goes inside the Dalek.
Ah, nice.
And basically, A World of Demons, The Villains of Doctor Who. One may tolerate a world of demons for the sake of an angel. This is a load of quotes. Yeah. Yeah, and basically it's a series of essays about all the villains in Doctor Who, which is...
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, that sounds fun.
It's interesting.
Then we've got Birds of Passage, which is communist propaganda. What am I looking at here? A countermeasures novel, Birds of Passage by Robert Manmore, based on Doctor Who characters created by Ben Aronovich. The Cold War is in full swing as the British government, in partnership with Wooden Armaments, launches the Cerberus satellites into orbit, transforming worldwide communications. But all is not as it seems. Retired Air Vice Marshal Ian Gilmore is reluctantly drawn into helping an embattled government. Dispatched into a divided Germany, he soon finds himself on the wrong side of the Berlin Wall as he helps a Soviet engineer with a terrible secret to defect to the West. Back home, Professor Rachel Jensen discovers her work at Cambridge has been prevented by Wooden Armaments when the Cerberus launch team, including Alison Williams and Anne Travers, goes missing. Rachel begins an investigation that unearths a terrible conspiracy at the heart of the British establishment, a conspiracy that threatens the entire world. This is the second book in a 2-novel event. Birds of Prey will release in 2022. What was the first one?
I don't know.
How did we miss the first one getting
apparently, I imagine.
How is this connected to Doctor Who, based on Doctor Who characters?
So basically, the character is one of the characters from Remembrance of the Daleks, which is a 7th Doctor story, and that's basically the only connection. Basically, the guy owns the character, and he's like, I want to make some Doctor Who money. And yeah, cool. I think this was... There's some weird text below. It's like, due to the pandemic, Birds of Passage now has a different offer. If you have ordered the sequel, Birds of Prey, this has been delayed. If you want to swap this order for another book, please contact Karen at candybookjarbooks.co.uk. So yeah, this is a very obviously independent organisation.
It is.
It's very strange. It
is. It's a small indie publishing house. They seem cute though. They accept unsolicited submissions, which is always nice to see. You can also like self-publish your own book through them, I guess, or they're just telling you how to self-publish. It's a very jank website for a very small indie publishing thing. They've released a unit book. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, they've released like loads of unit books starring the Brigadier. They've even got like a series about his granddaughter or something. Who's like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on with any of this, to be honest. It's very strange.
What an interesting little company that exists.
And it just shows you the Doctor Who universe is so much wider than we even realise. It goes further than Big Finish.
Yeah, it goes into small indie publishing companies in Cardiff. Wild. What a wild thing. That website's not been updated since 2006. we've also got
Yeah,
an interesting.
there's a series called The Lucy Wilson Mysteries, and it's apparently linked into Doctor Who somehow.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't understand it. It's about this little girl named Lucy Wilson who's best friends with a bald man or something. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? But we've got an interesting release coming up, that one that we've not really ever spoken about, and that is action figures. The 13th Doctor and Yaz, and apparently a Weeping Angel, are coming as action figures in a set, which is fun. I've never super been into action figures of anything, really. I always think they fuck up the face. I always think the face is never quite right.
We also have more figures coming out of this range. There's the Ninth Doctor and Rose, and the hologram of the Ninth Doctor.
Yeah, Rose's 2006 baggy jeans. Also, she has no hips. What the fuck is wrong with her? Her action figure looks like a piece of shit. That's an awful looking action figure. It's not got any hips. Jesus Christ.
And then we got the First Doctor and electronic TARDIS set, but it's not the first Doctor, it's the David Bradley First Doctor.
It is, it's the David Bradley First Doctor, but I think that's a nice looking action figure, to be fair.
It looks nice, yeah. I mean, we've got the Daleks, the history of the Daleks, genesis of the Daleks. To be fair, you can't really go that wrong with a Dalek.
No, a Dalek's going to look good as a toy every time, isn't it?
We've also got Destiny of the Daleks, and the Davros Dalek, which looks pretty decent.
Yeah, I like that as well.
Yeah, I'm not interested in collecting action figures, but here we go.
Yeah, we're going to buy all of them. Yeah, I'm not super interested in them either, but I guess it's cool that they exist, you know? If anything was to exist, I guess I'm glad that they are. It's not too bad, but that really brings us to the end of the news section of this podcast, which is lovely. We've hit an hour, which is very nice. This section, if you've never listened to it before, is where me and Scott just chat about shit for like, I don't know, as long as we want, and then we just kind of end the episode at some point. This is just our like catch up, like let's talk about something other than Doctor Who for 5 fucking minutes, please. So Scott, what have you been watching? If you say Doctor Who, I'll fucking jump through that screen and hit you.
I've been watching Doctor. I've been watching
Dark Shadows.
I've been watching Dark Shadows, which, if you don't know, is a 1966 soap opera that lasted from 1966 to 1971, and it's basically about a orphan girl who's like 18 years old, and she gets a mysterious letter to invite her to be the kind of like the tutor of a weird kid who's obsessed with murdering his dad.
Right.
It's a soap opera in America, and it's at the moment it's supposed to be supernatural, but at the moment the only supernatural elements are occasionally a door will close on its own.
Ooh, spooky.
This lady Victoria, who's a tutor, she'll occasionally see a dark, mysterious figure standing there, and she never really is like acknowledging it. But it's spooky, it's atmospheric, it's interesting. Basically, the big mystery at the moment is why did this? She's basically sent to this like big mansion, this big spooky mansion, and it's basically like, why did the owner of this mansion hire her? They've never even heard of her, and this mansion is set in Maine. And I think Stephen King was a huge fan of this show, so
well,
a lot of influences. I think
he lives in Maine, so
it's an interesting show.
So my question, Scott, for you is: there's a million TV shows. There's a million TV shows releasing every month. Shows that you want to watch, shows that you need to catch up on, and you go, "Yeah, I'm going to watch this show from the 1960s. No one's ever heard of or cares about."
Yeah, and it also has 1,000 episodes.
Yeah, why? Why did you decide to do this?
Because it's on YouTube and it's free, and I was interested.
Wow.
And a vampire comes in at some point, and there's ghosts, and there's witches, and there's time travel, kind of like Doctor Who. And also like Doctor Who, there's like there's moments where they mess up lines because they couldn't afford to do another take, and there's moments where you just see the boom mic and shit like that. It's fun to watch.
Incredible.
It's a fun show.
I've not been watching anything from the 1960s recently. What have I actually been watching? What have I been going through?
Kingdom Hearts.
I have. I'm still playing Kingdom Hearts, and it's fine, I guess. TV show wise, though, holy shit, what am I actually watching on TV right now? I finished the new season. I did. Oh yes, okay. Inside Man. I watched that. Basically, binged it over the course of a week. Watched it over the course of a week. And it is fine. David Tennant is good. The writing is very Stephen Moffat-y and at times frustrating as fucking all ends, because there are moments like the whole thing starts off in an extremely the whole drama of the series starts because of an extremely convoluted thing happening. So I'm going to spoil how it starts to start, right? So David Tennant plays a priest, and a guy comes to him and he's like, hey, my mom's going to be looking for my porn. Can you please hold on to this for me and hide it from me, because my mom's going to go mental if she sees it. It's kind of a weird dude. The porn's on a USB stick. You can pretty quickly jump to conclusions as to what it is. David Tennant is like, I'm a priest. I've got to look after you. I have a duty of care to God and, to looking after you and stuff like that. He's a vicar specifically. He's got one line he repeats throughout the whole series where he says, I'm a fucking vicar, which is, it's honestly, it's great. But he takes the USB stick and he hides it. He puts it in his pocket, and the mother doesn't find it. Then he goes home, and his son's tutor is coming over to the house and stuff like that. David Tennant empties his pockets to put his keys away, accidentally drops the USB stick into the key bowl even. Then the woman is like, can I connect to your Wi-Fi or something? And the son that's getting tutored goes, oh yeah, that's okay. Let me just, I'll connect you to the Wi-Fi through hotspot, right?
Is the password Dracula? Because that's what the password was in Dracula.
It's not. But right, this is what I don't think Stephen Moffat knows what a hotspot is, because the son goes, I'll connect you to the hotspot on my phone. And she's like, oh, okay. And then the son grabs the USB stick from the key bowl and goes, here, plug this in. This is a dongle. You don't fucking need a dongle to connect to a hotspot. Right?
To be fair, I don't think Stephen Moffat understands the concept of the internet in general, because if you remember Clara in Bells of St. John, she's like, hello, how do I turn on the Wi-Fi?
Yeah. But so he gives her this USB stick thinking that it's the internet dongle, which it's just ridiculous already. And the tutor plugs it in and obviously sees a lot of child pornography. Which she assumes to be the son's that's given it to her. She assumes that is his pornography that he's accidentally given to her. So David Tennant comes in and they're like, because he knows that the son's given this USB stick to the tutor, and he's like, shit, we got to get that off her right now, not telling his son what it is. And his son's like, oh, what is it? Is it porn or something? It's okay, I'll tell her it's my porn. So the son goes, oh, it's just my porn you're looking at. Sorry, that's a bit embarrassing. Whoops, not knowing that what she's looking at is a crime. And she's like, what the fuck? It's your porn? You're just casually telling that to me? And he's like, yeah, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. And the David Tennant sends him away, and then he's like, okay, you gotta give me that USB stick, tutor lady. And she's like, no, I'm gonna go to the police because your son is talking about being a pedophile super fucking casually and you're protecting him. And David Tennant's like, no, you need to understand that I'm not doing that. It's not my son. He was just lying on my behalf. And it's like, what, is it your porn? It's like, no, it's not my porn. And all fucking David Tennant has to say is, I'm a fucking vicar. Somebody that gave that to me to look after because they were, in a panic situation. But the lady doesn't let him talk and jumps into this conclusion, and they have the most frustrating fucking argument I've ever watched on TV. And then she falls down some stairs and David Tennant kidnaps her. And then the show,
what the fuck?
then the show begins. It's a really fun show. There's some interesting bits. Steve Buscemi, that's his name? I think so. He's really good in it, but fuck me, is that setup convoluted as fuck? So many things have to happen. So many people have to not listen, and Stephen Moffat has to not know what the fucking hotspot is.
Yeah, the thing with Stephen Moffat is I've kind of been burned out with his work. I wasn't into his run of Doctor Who as much as you were.
Loved it.
Like some of it was fine, some of it was really good actually, but like the middle part of his run was kind of. I did not like. I liked the first 2 episodes of Dracula. I did not like the last episode. And that's kind of burned me off from Moffat for life, to be honest. I hear Inside Man is good. I keep wanting to watch it, but it's like, I'll just watch Dark Shadows instead. I've watched like 4 episodes of Dark Shadows a day.
Inside Man is only 4 episodes. It doesn't linger around. The ending I thought was a bit disappointing, but fine. It wasn't frustrating or anything. Everything did get wrapped up.
The Devil's Hour also got released, which we should both watch, and I think we should both talk about that next month. That'd be fun.
I am very much wanting to watch that. That's the Moffat show I'm most excited about. Is Peter Capaldi being a weird dude in prison or something.
And then he also has access to time travel?
Yeah, supernatural stuff's going on. It seems very interesting as far as TV shows go. I also finished watching the new season of Big Mouth, which I don't think is a show you have any care for at all.
I only watched 6 episodes of it, and I was not into it. And I gave it a good try. Can't say I didn't give it a good try. 6 episodes.
It is a show that at times makes me extremely uncomfortable, but for some reason I really like the characters, and it's got just some quotes that really tickle me. Like there was one quote in this season that's been stuck in my brain, which is just one of the main characters' dads being like, your door or your penis, one of them's getting removed, which one? It's there's just dumb shit like that I like. I like the characters, I like the songs. It's not a great show, but it's fine. But that new season came out, and the new season is fun. It's lighthearted, dumb, but sex positive and kind of cool. Just sometimes gets uncomfortable if somebody walks in on you watching it, because you've got a lot of explaining to do. But I finished watching that and it was okay. Other than that, I'm not really watching too many TV shows at the moment. I've been playing a lot of video games. Been playing through Cyberpunk again. Been playing through Kingdom Hearts, obvious. I'm actually playing, honestly, too many games at the moment. I am playing Cyberpunk, Kingdom Hearts,
you gave Resident Evil a try.
I'm playing Resident Evil. I'm playing Zelda. Hang on, let me pull up this. I'm playing Assassin's Creed Origins. I just downloaded Persona 5 because it came out on Game Pass, so I'm playing that. I'm playing Vampire Survivors. I'm playing Elden Ring again. Obviously I'm streaming Psychonauts. I haven't played that in about a month, but I am playing that as well. I'm playing a lot of video games at the moment.
You haven't played Psychonauts so long. The last time he streamed, I lost to Fred, and I was like, I'm just gonna make dumb jokes in the chat. So I can't play too many video games at once, because once I lose to Fred, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I can't play this anymore.
Oh, I just remember. So
yeah.
I don't forget.
Yeah,
I'd remember.
With video games, I played Resident Evil. Now I'm playing Resident Evil 2. It's fun.
Yeah,
I like Resident Evil.
I find it hard for me to really focus on one video game at a time. Just because I get fucking bored. I'm like, okay, I need a break from this world. I want to go play something else. I want to play a different game, and I never really struggle with forgetting of plots. Even if I do forget the plot, like in my day to day, the second I launch the game and get back into it, it all comes streaming back to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember what I was doing, and just go back into it. I play video games a lot, honestly, but just doing that, and I'm.
But you never stream. You never stream.
Yeah, true. But that I just it's so busy, I'm not playing any games that I want to stream at the moment, besides Psychonauts. Besides that, I'm just writing a lot, writing stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about. So yeah, just typing away, typing away.
You're writing porn for the dark web.
I'm definitely not. What's that? I don't really have too much else to talk about. The world's gone to shit. That's fun. We got 2 new prime ministers since doing the last news podcast.
It's been a fucking crazy month, man. Like I've not had time to do much this month because
October zipped by. I had such a busy month in October.
I have a fucking full-time job and I had a funeral, so that was fun.
Yeah, lots of fun. Yeah, no, October.
I watched Doctor Who. Did you see the new Doctor Who special?
Maybe. What's Doctor Who?
Anyway, I think that's us. Really.
I think that is us. I do think that is us. So thank you very much for listening to this podcast.
You're welcome.
Thanks. What have we got coming out next week, Scott?
Next week we are still celebrating Doctor Who with the Three Doctors. It's
Woohoo.
the 50th anniversary of the 10th anniversary. Figure out one out.
Great. Awesome. I love maths. So yeah, next week we will be looking at the Three Doctors. So open up your BritBox, subscribe to it, or just fucking stream it illegally. I don't give a shit.
Or wait for it to drop on Disney Plus.
Yeah, next year, and then come back and listen to this episode and be like, I wonder what they talked about. But that'll be coming out next week. In the meantime, you could send us an email at whowatcheswhopod@gmail.com, and we will read it out on, well, not this podcast, but next month. At the end of the month, we will be reading out any emails we get in our news podcast. Scott's turned off his webcam just now. There we go, he's back. So sorry to any audio listeners there. Scott decided he didn't or video watchers. Scott didn't want to look at you just then. But send us an email at whowatcheswhopod@gmail.com and tell Scott how much of a smelly man he is. You can also find us on Facebook at Who Watches Who, on Twitter at Watches Doctor, on YouTube at Who Watches Who, where this podcast is available in video form. It is also available in audio form wherever you listen to podcasts. There's 8 million links in the description that will give you everything you ever desired for our entire show. You can find me on Twitter at Quality223. You can find me on Twitch at something orange. I'm going to stream again soon at some point. I swear he lied, not convincingly. But until then, we will see you next week. Bye.
Hello.
Oh, wow.